Now there's another large domino that kind of came to fruition towards the end of 2 weeks ago on Sunday. And we talked about it a little bit last week, but now it seems like it's coming a little bit more into focus. And that's Javon Quinterly, who, as I just alluded to, entered the portal last Sunday. We said that it could happen relatively quick. Why would he delay it? Memphis is in there, and Memphis is in there heavily. And once again, it's the same thing as Jordan Brown, but as a point guard. Like, he checks all the boxes. He's a true point guard. He can shoot the ball.
He'll set everybody up.
Just think about it, man. And we've done this like every week on just projecting on what this lineup could look like. But as the picture becomes clearer and clearer, it becomes more of a reality, and
it becomes a top 15 team.
Absolutely.
But I don't give a damn who you are. Like JQ at point, Caleb Mills with all that experience, 13 points per game at shooting guard. David Jones, who we had John Rothstein basically say he could be Conference Player of the Year. Yeah. Although he didn't. I don't know if he accounted for DeAndre Williams potentially coming back and Jordan Brown being in the AAC. But DeAndre Williams and Jordan Brown, 1 through 5. And then we've talked about that and how great that is. The depth on the team is insane. TFAL Leonard probably didn't come here to be a reserve player, but he's an unbelievable defensive player. You can maybe get him. He's a good lob threat, too, at the rim. He's athletic as hell. Nick Jourdain is a reserve big. Jonathan Pierre, who I feel like is going to work his ass off. We'll see what he is coming from D2 to D1, but that's going to be great. Jaden Hardaway can play minutes. Yeah. He's experienced as hell. We talk about the starting five all we want, but the depth pieces are going to be phenomenal as well. Just as a team, how rounded out this is with experience. You sort of check all the boxes you need to check. This is shaping up to be, without question, in my opinion, the best roster, best team that Penny Hardaway's ever put together.
Yeah, I don't even think there's an argument for it. If all of this comes to fruition, if you get JQ and DeAndre in the fold also, Kenny asked me this when we were talking about
And I think JQ is going to be done here soon.
Yeah.
I really do.
I mean, it just feels...
Unless there's a right to... We saw it with Jaden Bradley. There could be a turn
always
along the way.
But it just feels like Memphis was like the first school mentioned, and they've stayed consistent, and it just feels like it makes too much sense for both parties. But Kenny asked me this earlier in the week, like, is this the best team? Is this better than the Imani Bates, Jalen Duren team? I don't even think it's close. Now, the ceilings of some of these teams, when Penny brought in the first number one recruiting class that he brought in 2019, when it was James and Precious and DJ and Boogie and those guys, it was like, okay, if this projects out over 2 years or so, it could be incredible.
Yeah, but you knew it wasn't going to.
No,
like Imani,
it could have been
those
good.
number one recruiting class. There's going to be one and dones mixed in,
and they could have been good off the rip. Like that James Wiseman team could have been incredible, and that the team with Jalen Duren and Imani Bates, if things would have shaken out differently, could have been incredible.
But what are you about to?
They're unknowns.
Yeah,
now you have known commodities in college basketball that have produced for multiple years. There aren't questions like that.
Experience and talent. Wins in college basketball.
Absolutely.
You can do a decent job with talent, but usually it's a building process. We've seen it with John Calipari over the years. Hell, we've seen it with the Tigers team. The Imani Bates, Jalen Duren team didn't really come into their own until the end of the season. They were 9-8 at one point. Ultimately made the tournament, got to a round 2 game against Gonzaga, almost won, so they peaked at the right time. But this is the type of team that will come in from game one with the experience, with the talent they've had. I mean, Jordan Brown's a former 5-star, Javon Quinterly, former 5-star. Yeah, they've been in college a long time, but the talent is still there. You can't say, well, they were 5 stars and they've underachieved. No, they've been very good in their college careers. They've just stayed longer because they didn't end up being the NBA prospects they thought that they'd be.
Yeah.
But what wins in college basketball is experience mixed with talent, and this team will absolutely have all of that. And then I just look at the AAC. Yes, FAU is great. But when you talk about talent, if this all comes to fruition, this is the most talented team in the conference.
Yeah.
And I don't even think there's a real debate to be had there. Now, when it comes down to them gelling immediately, there's still going to be some questions there. But I always feel better about a team gelling when there's guys that have been in college for
Veterans.
3-4 years.
Yeah.
So, man, this past week, seeing Jordan Brown, seeing Javon Quinterly potentially getting in, I feel confident about DeAndre Williams getting another year. Like, seeing how this has all come together, this is fun as hell. Yeah. This is fun as hell. You hope the offseason equals what in-season will be, because that's been some of the issues with Penny Hardaway. You have the fireworks in the offseason. Then there's a little bit of a slow start. You have some low moments during the season. I just feel like this team, with the experience they have, there's the potential to avoid those low moments during the season. And if this all comes together, I think that the pollsters, I think preseason they'll be ranked really high.
Yeah.